Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the opacity of this moose. So if we click on these three little dots, it normally would look like this, but we're just going to make it go down a little bit like this. We still want to be able to see the outline. And then the majority of what you're going to be doing is adding text. Now when we click on this text button, we want to click on this big blue one that says default text. And the only four buttons in here that we're really going to play around with is text box, font, transparency, and size. We do want to make sure that our text is black though. So let's change that to black. All right, so here's where you may want to create a list of words that you associate with the image. So here we have a moose, so I'm going to put nature, because that's what I associate with a moose. And I'm going to have a bunch of different words. So here I have nature. I'm going to change the fonts. I want them to all look a little different. Let's make this one bigger. And then let's make it a little more see-through. So once I'm happy with how it looks, I'm just going to place that on my canvas. Now I can do this a few times. So if I want to copy this one, I can hit this button here, duplicate image or duplicate layer. So I want to have a few of them that say nature. And this is just going to save me a little bit of time. So duplicate layer, and I can move them around. But we don't want to duplicate the same one too many times. All right, so there's one word, and we're going to keep doing this over and over again until we've filled up the entire shape of our silhouette. So let's do this again. Let's use moose. Again, I want to make sure the text is black. Let's choose another font. Let's use this one. Let's leave the transparency to 100, and let's make this one really big. No, not that big. There we go. And again, I'm just going to keep adding new words in here. Let's do horns. Maybe I'm going to do this one really small. And again, if you want to copy a word you already did, just click on these three dots over here and click on this duplicate layer, and it makes two of them, so you can remove those around. Now your word doesn't have to sit completely in the silhouette, it can go off of it. So let's give you another example. Let's do one more word, and let's do forests. That's where they live. Again, we really want to have a variety of different text there. I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger, and let's change the opacity. All right. Now I'm going to duplicate this one a bunch of times just so you can see what the outline should look like. But again, I wouldn't want this many forests. I would only want to duplicate it maybe 3 or 4 times. Okay, so once you have the words covering the entire moose, let's duplicate the moose a little bit more. All right, and again, we would want all of these outlines to be completely covered. So let's pretend it's completely done now. Now I have a lot of text layers over here. So the step that I'm about to do is going to take a long time. So all I'm going to do is I want them, instead of having 20 different layers, I want there to only be one text layer. So I'm going to click on these 3 dots, and I'm going to do, actually I can save us some time, let's make the moose outline invisible. So let's put hidden. And then I also want my background to be hidden. Okay, so what we're going to do before we merge our layers down is that we're going to turn off the background, and that's this button right here. Okay, let's try this again. Now I'm going to click on a text layer, and I'm going to hit Merge Visible. There we go. Now I can turn my background back on. And let's make my moose visible again. Perfect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change my moose opacity to a lot darker now. I want to be able to see the complete outline. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my eraser tool. Now this part can be a little bit tricky because we can't really see all of the outlines here. But I'm going to take my eraser tool and I'm going to erase all of the text that is not inside of my deer or my moose. And that's how we're going to get the silhouette. So make sure you select the text layer. And now I'm going to erase everything that is not inside of the moose. It's a lot easier on the Photoshop, but this is how we're going to do it using this website. And again, I can see that dark silhouette, so I just want to erase all of the text that's not inside of it. And if it is easier, so now I can actually see the silhouette of the moose better, so you can change the text silhouette a little bit lighter so that you can see a better outline. And this part's going to take a little while, but we're just going to keep erasing until we can't see any more words sticking out of the silhouette. Alright, so we're going to keep doing that. I'm just going to do a little bit quicker now. Alright, so when that's all done, we have the complete silhouette, no words sticking out. I still have to touch up here and around the antlers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back to full %, and then I'm going to hide this. And then you will have the outline of the deer, the moose, and it'll look a lot nicer than this. But as you can see, you can already see the curve of where the deer nose was, the back was, and some of the antlers. And then after you do that, you're just going to change the background to a color that matches the theme. So for a moose, I would add something like maybe a brown or green to represent a forest. So I'm going to go into my background color here. Let's pick a nice dark green. There we go. So now we have a colored background and we will have the silhouette of our object. So for this project, you can pick any silhouette you want, and then we're just filling it with words that we associate with our object.